How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and take the JBE P16 out for a little blast. And yeah, I'm on my second playthrough. I'm on Northport, and I'm going to go and do the mission, well, it's a contract actually, called, was it Polar Base, or Port Polar Base Supply. Yeah, this is a route, it's kind of like, if you do a big lap of the map, there's kind of everywhere that it says you can pick various materials up along the way. I wasn't 100% sure which place I got all the materials from. Obviously the first one, fuel, I knew that one, but yeah, the other warehouses I was just kind of like, I'll visit each one and yeah, they'll either give me what I need or I'll move on. So this is the way I've got the P16 set up. I've put the JBE version of the custom muds on. There is the same size muds that I believe just the kind of stock game version of these, so just bear in mind if you are flicking through them. It was like the ones right near the bottom of the muds were like the game's base version, and if you go back up a little bit, I think those 68-inch tyres, yeah, it's like a JBE version of these, and yeah, I think they're a lot better. They actually work sort of like you'd expect. It's just a quick one. I mean, of course I'm bringing a goddamn professional with me, but I just wanted to test how decent this crane is. It's kind of that crane that you get on the Bandit when they updated that situation, and yeah, to be honest, I actually prefer that crane. Out of all the little ones, it's pretty decent. It doesn't, even when you've got it extended, it seems to actually lift at least, say, a loaf off the ground, like all the scouts. I think the loaf is relatively heavy for a scout, but yeah, anyway, it lifts things with, yeah, no real hassle, and like I say, as you're trying to extend it, it doesn't just suddenly plummet to the ground. I'm going to change my field of view quickly, or third-person view or whatever. For some reason, it's cool that the option's there to change the, like, third-person view, how zoomed in or zoomed out it is, but for whatever reason, every time I restart the game, it resets it back to, I think it's 80. I now just put it up to 100 again, which is, yeah, what I normally change it to, but like I say, it just keeps putting it back. Yeah, so anyway, like I say, got the 68-inch JBE version of the custom muds. It's pretty cool that you get a crane. You can get a high saddle on this. You can't get a low saddle or whatever, but to be honest, I don't think you really miss out on anything. This truck, especially with this setup and everything, is easily powerful enough to haul these big trailers. There is that wide 5-slot trailer that's a saddle high as well, so yeah, I mean, like, you're not going to be able to get the sideboard semi-trailer or the flatbed semi-trailer, one or two other ones, but generally speaking, I don't think there's anything like, yeah, you can still tow trailers behind you. You can see like the big hitch on the back, so I can still get the ramped flatbed, although that drives me mad. Yeah, the maintenance trailer, all those sort of things, so I don't think there's anything like any options wise that it's blocking you from. This 8-slot trailer actually suits this P16 very well. Like, the P16 is a pretty massive truck anyway when you actually park it next to other stuff, and yeah, it just kind of, it fits. That's what she said. Yeah, the only thing is as well, I've mentioned it, other people have mentioned it in the comments, this 8-slot trailer's like so long that it'd be pretty cool if there was like steerable rear wheels. I don't know how awkward that would be to implement or whatever, but, well, I don't know. Really, if you're just driving along and say you held down on the D-pad or something, or whatever, if that's taken, press right on the D-pad and it just kind of steers your wheels the way you're going kind of thing. I don't know, I'm sure it wouldn't be impossible to do, but all it means is you just end up driving like that and you kind of have to knock it around the corner really by dragging it against a lamppost or something. They seem to have put a lot of obstacles like on the inside of corners, so yeah, fortunately this thing's got plenty of muscle, so it has no issues just ramming it round and yeah, dragging it along. It managed to get over as well that what's it called, like just that little rough bit of road sort of from the main road to this fuel station. Yeah, this is a very nice truck. It's one of the ones I definitely want to keep. I've always liked the P16 anyway, even when it was just like the stock standard version, but this one, to be honest, I can't remember off the top of my head if it's got a more powerful engine or not, but either way I always think, oh yeah, in fact, sorry, it has, it's definitely got a like done up engine, so I think the power to weight was all the way to the top. But the main thing is it's got all-wheel drive, which is nice because even though there was plenty of power in the stock P16, yeah, in certain situations as you're trying to turn a corner, because there is nothing going to the front wheels and they're just being pushed along like a trolley, there's certain situations where they basically understeer, and because all the power's coming from the back axles, it just kind of skids your front along. Whereas when the front themselves are actually biting in and turning, once you've got the steering on full lock, it's trying to drag the nose end of your truck left or right rather than trying to be pushed and just hoping for it to dig in and send send the front end of your truck whichever way your wheels are pointing. So yeah, just overall, all-wheel drive is just a better, nicer driving experience. It's also modded like a JBE version of the gearbox, which is pretty bloody nice to be honest, especially the fact that the power's up, it can handle the gearbox pretty well. It's got 7 gears, it's got a high range, 3 low range options, etc. And yeah, overall, I mean, the options in this truck usually are the special and advanced special gearbox, which in themselves are like, they're actually pretty nice in this game. Or forget the special, because I normally just upgrade straight to the advanced special, but yeah, this is just like a nicer version again, really. An extra gear on top, or it might, I don't mind, 2 extra gears actually. The advanced special might only have 5. Either way though, it's like the top end's nicer. They're pretty nicely spaced gears. The engine's got enough power that it kind of climbs through them pretty nicely, and it's not, you don't really have any flat spots or anything like that. So yeah, all things considered, it was doing pretty nicely. So anyway, grabbed 2 lots of fuel things, whatever, fuel barrels from the petrol station. Got to this next warehouse. I wasn't really sure, but scrolled through. It had bricks. I need 4 bricks. And then yeah, no metal beams on this one. I've not tried it yet, but I see it in the mod thing that somebody's modded like a version of this trailer that can carry 10 pieces of cargo. I assume they've modded like the front section of it where I've got my loaf to add like 2 extra bits of cargo there, so yeah, you'll be hauling quite a lot with that. I think as well, when I did that twin steer video yesterday, I managed to put 2 more cargo on the back of the twin steer even when it had the crane there. I believe you might be able to fit up to 3, so that'd be 13 lots of cargo in total. And then again, if you did a road trailer, that's like 26 lots of cargo. So I think one of the big missions in Yukon though, on flooded foothills, I think that takes about 30 cargo, so you'd still need to maybe double stack a few. Although you can pack vehicles on top of cargo, so I haven't tried it yet. I've only just kind of thought of it now in my head, but I wonder if in theory you could maybe get another twin steer, pack some cargo on that, and then crane that up, maybe using the heavy wrecker, on top of your trailer, and then pack it on top of that, and then you might officially have kind of like 14 cargo on one trailer with a twin steer sat on top. And yeah, got to the next section, that had metal beams, which I'm pretty happy about, because later on in the mission, well, I end up kind of half accidentally going that way anyway. Yeah, I'm going to kind of have to go off into the top corner for what I thought would be one of these materials. Obviously the warehouse in that top corner gives you something, but we're already good. I was going to try and do a U-turn in the yard, but in all honesty, this trailer is about as wide as like where those fences are, so I don't think there'd be any way that it'd look smooth. I'd just end up crashing through there. So in the end I thought I'll try reversing the trailer and yeah, get it back level with the road. Yeah, there's a little glitch there. Typical, but yeah, all things considered, went pretty well. Didn't go too far off the other side. And that's that, I think we're all loaded up, got all 8 pieces of cargo we need. It's definitely cool having these sort of trailers in the game. Because before, I wouldn't really... The only 2 options I'd have before a trailer like this is either do this mission in 2 runs, which is fine, but you just essentially repeating the same journey twice, or have like a tandem truck sort of road trainer thing going on. But the only thing is, when you're towing stuff in this game, when you're doing like tandem trucks, it automatically puts you down into like a low gear, or at least a truck behind you, so you're only ever going like this fast max, even if you're on like a nice smooth road and all the rest of it. So I do like a bit of like if I'm on the right map where the terrain's pretty rough anyway and I'm going to be going slow, then yeah, I do like taking spare trucks. A bit more of an open map, like, I don't know, Michigan, Black River for example, it's pretty rare I'd ever take tandem trucks, because it's just the time you lose by going slow. It's not really worth what you gain really by having a spare truck. Again, take a goddamn horse of a vehicle with you. It'll winch you, flip you, get you out of puddles, ditches, lakes, all kinds of good stuff. Yeah, quick look at the interior. Got the roof rack, or the bonnet rack, the hood rack now. It doesn't really block your view that bad, to be honest, because you kind of sit quite far over to the left in this cab. Yeah, you are kind of sat to the left of the bonnet, I admit. Over to the right it blocks it a little bit, but nothing too special. And then now, when I got to this lake, I'm basically supposed to go up there to the left and just kind of cut around the lake, but out of curiosity, I was just wondering, would I be able to just plough straight through it? I've got the snorkel attached. It's kind of under that like big metal plate that goes over the cab, really. I was going to say maybe the snorkel type snorkel, the one that actually like just sticks out the front a bit like on the twin steer. That might be a tad taller, but because it's further in front on the truck, I still think it would have been drowning then. But yeah, drove into that lake, and as you can see, pretty immediately the P16 started to plunge pretty deep. Again, that's what she said. It'd be pretty cool though. Remember on MudRunner, for those of you that played it, it used to have like depth indicators on bits of water, so when I looked on the map then, there'd be like loads of red sticks kind of spread throughout the lake as you look at it on the map, and the longer the stick, the deeper the water was, and it kind of gave you a rough idea. It'd be quite cool if they added that back. But yeah, the fact that the P16 is pretty tall, also with this JBE version, I've got, yeah, 68-inch tyres, which are pretty massive. I think the Antarctic and the Cat 745C, I think they've only got 71-inch tyres, so we're almost up to that sort of size. The P16 itself is pretty bloody tall. I've also got the JBE raised suspension, so this has got to be one of the tallest trucks in the game at the minute with this setup. And yeah, it instantly was like, didn't even really get very far into the lake before it was just plunging, and it was going to go deeper than I could manage. In the end then I thought, right, I'll try and skirt around the edge, maybe I'll get away with it that way. But yeah, got about this far, started slipping in a bit more, going too deep. I don't even need to say it. And yeah, started taking damage. It's got pretty decent for engine damage. I was taking a few hits, but it's definitely not like the heavy wrecker or the smaller wrecker. It's not like that much engine health where you can just watch it tick away for quite a while. But again, it's nice that you've got the roof rack, or the hood rack, bonnet rack, whatever. There is another roof rack as well you can put on the actual roof of the P16. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I think I just left it in the end because I already, one, knew I was going to equip the crane, and two, I was and ahhing with the idea of sticking the loaf on the roof, but then I remembered there's room on the 8-slot trailer, so we're all good. Enough room for a goddamn professional. One nice thing though, while I was messing around doing this, the P16, to its credit, did pretty well at reversing out there. I've drove into like various rivers and lakes and stuff on this game when I've had a fully loaded trailer behind me, not even the 8-slot trailer either, and yeah, they can struggle to reverse back out once you've gone in. Whereas this thing, it muscled its way back, it yeah, shoved the trailer back. So again, as you can see, pretty stubborn. I wanted my my little path across the lake. Even trying to cut around this way though, it's still sinking in pretty deep pretty quickly, and this time the snorkel is still on the left of the truck, so that's already starting to get dunked a little bit. That's why I originally tried to skirt along like the left hand side of the lake, because it was yeah, the left side of my truck, if anything, was sticking out, but not enough. I'm still travelling slowly now. It's kind of, fingers crossed, keep it pinned at this point. It's still taking more engine damage, but yeah, I was like, if I reverse, I'm only going to take even more than going back through that bit, so keep it floored, we'll see what happens. It managed to get out, like, climb this far, for whatever reason, around here. I think it is still moving forward extremely slowly, but I'd still officially consider that not good enough anymore. Time for a winch. Yeah, you can almost hear, like, I'm not sure if it's a way that they code the terrain in this game. It might be, because of the way, like, Super Snow and that reacts or makes you have to act, whether you've got a lot of engine power or not, that maybe, like, it, I don't know, cock blocks some of your engine power in certain terrains, because as I was coming out the other side of the lake there, it's, yeah, you could almost hear like I wasn't going up to full revs, and that's when it was struggling a little bit. Once I winched on the trees and got past that little section, it kind of sounded like the revs built back up just fine, and yeah, I got out of there. I wasn't sure if the next bit of the lake as well I'm driving into was going to get pretty deep, so I just thought I'll repair my engine before we even get there. Possibly the sensible thing to do would just be drive straight ahead now. There's like a gap between the rock and the trees, but again, at this point, stubborn enough. Like, nope. We're going all the way. And to be fair, this side of the lake wasn't really that deep, so it was pretty good. I'm surprised though they didn't capitalise on like rivers and sections like this. I mean, just the fact that even this thing, one of the tallest trucks surely in the game at the minute, drowned pretty quickly as I started to drive just through the middle of the lake. Yeah, they never really considered that as an option at all. That was just an absolute dead end that you're never supposed to use. And right now, by the way, I was supposed to have turned right there, but I was having a good old time, enjoying myself, so I drove further down here. I'm basically heading. It's because I originally put these markers in place for that factory in the bottom left. Yeah, now I realise, god damn it, I've got to go back. And this, I think, in real life, the idea of driving trucks and trailers and that wouldn't really bother me, but this is the kind of thing that would stress me out in real life. If I went down the wrong section and had a stupidly long trailer to reverse, yeah, just the idea of it would not be good. I remember years ago, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but when I was walking on the way to work, I live in like a little village, and there's a little roundabout in the middle of the village, and it's pretty tight. It's a pretty small roundabout, and yeah, it's fairly narrow around it, but some guy was driving a truck that is like one size down from the articulated trucks with like a separate trailer, so it was like a rigid truck, but pretty massive. Are they 22, 28 ton trucks, something like that? Yeah, he had that. He then had a trailer, a bit like the curtain side trailer you get a few times in this game, that was maybe a bit shorter, but about the same size as like the cab thing he had on the rigid. And then on behind that, he had a caravan, and a pretty big one at that. And it was like another 25-30 foot of caravan. And yeah, he basically tried driving up this village, which is just a horrifically bad idea anyway. There's roads cars parked all down one side of the roads and all sorts. But he attempted to go around this roundabout, realised about halfway round that he's completely screwed, because he was catching like the inside of the truck on the roundabout. It's all built like with a stone wall on the inside of the roundabout either, so you're not just cutting over it or anything. And yeah, as I was walking past, he'd obviously just figured this out and then was trying to reverse, and I just remember thinking, like, that is probably one of the worst things I could imagine being stuck with, is about like 100 feet of truck and trailer, and again in 3 sections as well, and that middle trailer that was like the curtain side thing, I can't remember, but it probably was like one of those stupid dolly axle things that you get in this game. So yeah, imagine having to reverse like a massive truck, a bit like, imagine the twin steer but with like a curtain side box thing on the back, reversing that with a ramped flatbed behind you with the stupid dolly axle, and then yeah, like a pretty big caravan on the back of that, and you have to reverse it down a lane that's probably about as narrow as this lane that's driven in the snow. Yeah, I was pretty glad I was just a shelf stacker that day, because I'd rather be doing just about anything than what that guy was doing. How we got out in there in the end, I don't know. I'm assuming people would have had to turned up, disconnected the caravan, kind of just rolled that off down one of the side roads separately, and then again, I don't even know. It would have been pretty pretty horrific with just the truck and the trailer, to be honest. Pretty random as well, but the same roundabout. I remember years and years and years ago, my brother came over from the Isle of Man in a little E30 BMW 3. I think it was a 318, but it had like a 2 litre carb or something on it, or a 2.5 litre carb, and yeah, it was a pretty punchy little thing. It only went about 100, but it accelerated like a little maniac for like a 318. Yeah, it was a pretty little rapid thing, and yeah, it drifted that roundabout pretty nicely as well. The front end, like the nose end, was only like a few inches off the stone wall on the inside, and it went pretty well. Whole thing was gutted inside as well. Hardly any dashboard, no glove box, just seats. Had side exit exhaust, sounded pretty good. It was just like a rough old thing. In the Isle of Man, they don't have MOTs or anything, so you get some cars and stuff in some serious states. He came over in a, what was it, an old Escort RS Turbo once, years ago, and just for the hell of it, what was it, something went wrong with it, and he ended up, like, before he was setting off home, he took it to a garage, it was like a headlight bulb or something, But the mechanic, after looking at it, said I won't even drive that thing out the garage, let alone on the motorways back to the Isle of Man. That's right. I remember another time he came over in what was it this time? A Mercedes. It was like one of the old school square looking ones. It was only like a 1.8 litre, but it's like the old Mercedes E series Cosworth looking thing, but again it was not the Cosworth. Yeah, and there was 5 of us in there and we're driving around and police started following us and we're coming to the T-junction. I was like, yeah, just turn right, and he turned left, and just where we were, it's like, oh, it's going to look, now the police are going to pull us. Not that they're really mad, it's just the principle of it, like, oh, here we go. And yeah, the police pulled us, and the first thing they tried to accuse, when we pulled out of this T-junction to the left, they said they clocked him going 50 miles an hour past this shop. This shop is about 20 foot past the T-junction that we pulled out of, and there's 5 of us in a 1.8 litre Mercedes, and they're trying to say we were going 50 miles an hour past this shop. Like, even a Bugatti Veyron wouldn't reach 50 miles an hour in 20 foot, let alone with 5 people inside it, 5 fully grown adults. Yeah, so he was full of shit. The copper, like, one copper was a complete arsehole. The other copper was actually pretty cool. He sort of came over to the car afterwards, but when he pulled him, he added his window down, and the first thing the copper said, he's like, oh, I mean, you got speed limits in the Isle of Man, which there isn't, or not in the mountain road. So my brother's like, nope. And then he's like, oh, I've ran your number plates, have you not got MOTs either? And like, nope, not got them. And yeah, this guy just, again, was like a seriously mardy sod, but he wanted to try and pick apart something. He was even, this is how much of a dickhead he was, it was about midnight, his lights were flashing with houses all along there, and some woman stuck her head out the window and said, can you please turn your lights off, it's midnight and my kids are trying to sleep. And he was like, nope, go back inside. Just a complete dick. As yeah, you get them subtly. Anyway, that was some random stories. Finally made it here. Again, this is a very nice truck to drive. I was enjoying it a lot. I've actually kept it so far. It's the first time I've really kept a mod on and then quit the game and everything. I've just got to remember when I load it up tomorrow not to turn this mod back off. But I'm going to see how well the game enjoys keeping this for a while until I reload it. But yeah, even after this, I went for another little drive. I went and dropped the trailer off. What did you get payout? Is that only 3,000 something? I know I can kind of glitch money now, so it doesn't really matter, but god damn, that's a rip-off. That mission should be like 10-15 grand. As well, people have been saying, yeah, some of the bigger missions in Yukon, in like the flooded foothills and that, pay out a pretty good lump of money. Which they do. They are, I can't remember, I'm sure some of them are like 50 odd grand, but again, it's the amount of mission to do. It's like, wow, I could just glitch a few engines and then go and buy one of my favourite trucks and go messing around. Anyway, drove this thing back, went to, fortunately there's a trailer store just around the corner from where it makes you drop everything off, so I was able to go and sell the trailer. See, try not to abandon trailers everywhere. I won't put much effort into it, but if there's a trailer store practically on my route, then I suppose it's twisted my arm. Yeah, stuck the loaf on the back though, goddamn horse of a vehicle. Fits like a charm and we're off. It's as well, it's a pretty good looking truck with these tyres on. These custom muds suit it pretty well, just like the height it sits, the size of the tyres. Overall, it's pretty cool. And again, this will be getting even more use when they drop Phase 3. I don't know when, but I've heard as far as mods go and stuff, we're not even gonna, I think like all the devs and that are on holidays or whatever until about the 11th of January, so I don't think anything's going to be happening for like another week or so. But yeah, in a couple of weeks-ish, maybe, we should have Phase 3, and then we'll get login back, and I believe this P16's got its own login trailer that folds up. That's again what that little cutout in the roof of the P16 is for like the trailer to fold into. Crane's still doing that crazy thing. But yeah, that was the mission. Like I say, a lot of fun, pretty cool. I definitely highly recommend getting this truck. And yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.